Really good look.
Yeah, I just wonder if this is a good enough
They've been in
system sprayer.
Well, I know there's, like I said, there's cheaper ones, but they don't do, I'm limited on
It's
time.
not even.
So I need to do what I need to do, and this gets me done. So if somebody else wants to take that, have at her.
So the county ones that you rent, they're really nice, actually.
They are,
Are they, I think they're 60 PSI systems.
yeah, that's as high as the electric one goes, this is a gas motor.
So why do we need 200?
200 is what it takes to run the boom, on the boom whistles that I use. You just can't get, a 60 PSI won't pump enough gallons per minute to run the boom whistle sprayer.
To run a boomless sprayer?
Yeah,
So you have a wand, is that what you have?
I have a wand also, but it also plugs into a boom whistle sprayer that you can control from the cab, turn it off and
You
on.
have a thing you put on your truck.
Right,
Okay.
that's what I used up to now, so I don't know.
That sounds like that'd do the job.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody else wants to go do it with a smaller sprayer.
Well, we're really talking about the budget besides doing,
Right.
gonna be doing it, so, budget, where's that line item in there?
Well, yeah, but if who's doing it depends on what you're buying.
Mine, yeah.
Well, let's use that one for now, you know,
I
just,
want a backpack.
I got one of those too.
which line item was that on though?
Under highways, public works,
Hold on here.
weeds, right, weed
Highway,
chemicals.
Okay, so we've got, only 1,200 bucks in that, so that's what Eric's bringing that up for. That probably, that's 1,800.
Yeah, $18.99, so.
And before this came up, Lynn and I were talking about mostly just weed and chemicals currently for those dollars.
We want 1,200 in there.
So that's all we had is 12.
So I haven't bought chemical because I'm waiting to see what, maybe I don't need it.
So
Maybe my backpack sprayer's not good.
You're gonna need it.
Well, maybe
So why can't-
2,500 or 3,000 between that and chemical.
Yeah, well, the chemical, it goes quite a way. The problem with, and I should probably say this, but the problem with anybody going out spraying the right of ways is that you need to know what code you're spraying under. I have quite a few folks that are very upset, and you need to have their codes with you or be able to cite those on the public right of ways. You also need to have a non-commercial pesticide license.
I agree, not everyone should police this thing and just go spray. I think we need to have someone who knows what they're doing.
Well, we've kind of had up to now kind of a system, and Eric's been, Mike used his, and Eric's been using his, and Eric's down now, and so it's time for the town to pick.
I
Yeah.
should go ahead and do.
And I'll fix mine, but it's just, it's a bad time the town needs them.
It is.
Right away.
You know, the
People
first time
personal
somebody
prop-
goes and adds detergent oil to the pump, it burns the pump out because it runs on non-detergent oil.
Exactly.
So, in terms of spray, why can't we get our spray from the county?
We can't,
So why do we have it budgeted? Because we can't get
because
enough?
they won't give you as much as we use.
And each year differs on the grants they get on their weed.
Have we asked them though? Have we talked to them? I'd be willing to talk to them. In fact, I think I'm on
The weed work.
the weed board.
The weed work.
John,
Yeah.
the weeds that were sprayed up around the water tanks, I think there's approximately 7 acres up there. But all of that was provided by the county.
Yeah.
And,
Not all of it,
huh?
not all of it, because I went and spraying.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe what I ought to do is look in and see what the county will give us as a town. I'd be happy to do that.
They've never turned me down. If I went in
Yeah,
and
me
said I
neither.
need 2 gallons, you get 2 gallons.
And what about them and timing and spraying for, I mean, the chemicals is the easy one, it's the equipment and the time
Oh,
for.
I think we move ahead on spray.
Well, here we
Okay,
go.
okay.
Eric's brought up a good point. He says that, my time, I need this kind of setup. Well, those 7 acres got sprayed with a 2-gallon tank. And I was the guy walking all over the hill, so evidently my time wasn't that valuable that day. But my point to that is, you can take chemical and with a couple of guys and some 2-gallon sprayers, you'd be surprised how thorough that takes the weed out and how much chemical it doesn't take.
Yeah.
But it's the same old thing. If you're driving the truck and running a wand, you're gonna use more chemical. It's just the way it is. But time is worth something here,
Yeah.
for sure.
And that need doesn't go away for the backpacks. I carry that with me also, because that need doesn't go away. You have to get out and spot spray. This setup that I have is mainly for broadcast spray.
But I learned something tonight that I didn't know. I'm supposed to be licensed if I'm spraying
Yes, you are.
weed around the pump house.
So where do you get that license?
U.S. Department of Agriculture.
So,
And they'll come and check your license.
check, give you a license? and
They'll
check-
give you a ticket. They check your license. Whatever it
Is that on
is.
public land or on your own land too?
What's that?
Is that license required on your own land, private land?
Yes, there's a private pesticide applicator license also.
So the landlord, or the landowners on the right of way from their property.
But not
So if
for
they're
every
all
pesticide. Not
It's-
for every
It's
pesticide.
restricted use.
For weeds, spraying for weeds up front, you need to be licensed.
If you're using a restricted use pesticide, see, that's happening.
Not pesticide. Weed.
So you're okay with that?
Is that restricted use?
Yeah, for weeds is what they-
You'd have to look at the label, see what they gave you. I don't know what they gave you.
Like 2,4-D.
2,4-D is what they do.
That's your.
That's good. You can buy that.
Okay, so I don't have that license.
Glyphosate, it's the same way.
I do want to be critical.
However, if you add M60 to that, and you do, no, that's actually, when I spray, I try and use the two systems. I have two modes of action. The one is soaks in, the other one is it opens the pores in the plant and it dries out. So I have two modes of action when I hit, because my time is so valuable, that I hit it once and it's, so.
Okay, so with the budget then, you had brought $3,000 mark? John?
Yeah. I'm thinking we ought to budget that, try to use it.
What do you think?
I don't think I can give an educated value right now without knowing what the county would give us. But $1,000 one way or the other isn't that big a deal probably.
Right.
Yeah, so whatever.
So you want to make that 3,000?
Yes.
What amount of chemical? Even though the town had 60 gallons, 60
That's the only adjustment I see on that.
Nothing on the revenue side, you're just gonna leave that like it is?
We,
No, on
Salaries?
the budget.
Oh, budget.
what do we need to move?
Well, you know, we just got a lot of spread in there that may come in, that we in between the approved budget of 168 versus the, excuse me, this, yeah. Talking about 30 grand plus, on the plus side, that we might be able to cushion that, cushion other payloads and stuff.
If you're happy with the way it is, if we can just amend it down the road if we need
So
to.
the estimated,
Yes.
Yeah, and so here, and here, we're gonna, at the end of the year, we're gonna probably have to adjust it anyway, and so, and we're on the lower side of what might come in, these are on the plus side, so we don't wanna be too close to the plus if we don't actually make the plus.
Yeah. So is our, do you think that, maybe, I don't know.
Well, the sales tax is probably the one that had the most give, because we probably think that's gonna increase, not certainly, stay flat or increase, just because of the growth of the valley, so, you know, and that could be moved and increased. Once again, I think, you know, after looking at it all in a crystal ball, deal with it, adjust it when we think we get from when we need it. Okay, then?
So you haven't changed anything else?
Just that 3,000, and then
even out the salaries to 95,000,
And even if it's $1,000 to
and
95,000,
then I'll plug in whatever carryover funds or transfers needs to make it balance.
okay?
So this 3,000 is gonna take last year's and this year, is that what we're looking at? Because we haven't spent last year's budget.
Well, we're just going to increase this year's, well, that's a good question. We add three to this one and next?
No,
Yeah, just
two
a three for
separate,
next.
two separate items. If we don't spend it this year, it'll get zeroed out. And so you want a budget for what you're gonna spend in 2017, 18.
So how do I guess my question is, how do I use last year's budget and this year's budget to get this without, or do I just wait till next year?
Let's wait till next month to buy it.
Okay. All right.
And that is, unless we need it sooner than a month.
Yeah, I mean, your budget is 1,200 for
So we
this
could get it
year.
in 3
So if
weeks.
you wanna
Yeah.
use that this month,
Yeah.
you have it budgeted at $1,200.
Right, but
That's a down
And
payment.
then more next year.
Yeah, but he's
That
got
was
how
my
I buy
question.
it.
That was my question. Can I use last year's budget and next year's budget
Put
to,
it
if we
down,
go with that?
put it down in
No,
order.
you would just zero out this year's and increase next year's.
Okay.
So if you want more than 3,000 in there, if you know you're not gonna spend it in June, then you want to up that to $4,500, you know? It's your budget.
35. And that's two, and we have 12 in here. That's 32 anyway. $200 would matter.
No, I don't think it is. And it's not like I've built it I've never built a town for spring.
Exactly.
Truck or whatever, I mean, that's why I say if somebody else is willing to take that and run with it.
I'm willing to help. I don't have a permit, so maybe I can't, but some things I'd be willing to help.
Okay, then I say leave that 3,000 then,
Okay.
next year, and then,
So then your next one is the water fund.
okay?
We've assumed 75,000 in revenue. Up the salaries and benefits a little bit, mileage, conferences, utilities. Are hopefully gonna be comparable, if not more. IT from Chris. Legal, we have at 4,000. Engineering at 15,000. Water testing, we have at 4,500. I don't think we're going to have any major expense in testing unless the state comes up with some new requirements. A lot of the tests that we accomplished in 2017, which should have been done in 2016, are 3-year tests. So we'll have a big year in 2019 again, but as far as 2018, I think it'll be minimal.
And I thought you might pick up on that, that's why we dropped that this year.
Thanks for your confidence.
Well, I tried to think ahead of you.
Right on.
And then we do have 10,000 for repairs. You may have some insight on that if you think that's low with what's going on up there.
I think it-
Okay,
if you moved through 3,000 in the last couple of weeks, might be a little low.
that's in Storm Haven,
Oh,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's your next budget. I think our
I saw a
revenues,
hand back there, Ryan, you already had a question on the budget?
No, I was just relaxing.
I knew you.
revenues have increased. I don't know if it was Ryan or Casey thought that they would come in higher than anticipated, but that's good.
We're on Storm Haven, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, yeah, Kim, let's look at that sewer services and things. Well, that may not be where that 3,000.
That's the revenue.
Yeah. I guess I'm jumping ahead of it. I guess.
Repairs on Storm Haven, we have a $15,000 in the budget.
That's what I want to get to. How do you feel about that dollar amount? Look into your crystal ball.
when it's gone, we're done.
I'd move that up 5%.
I'm gonna take it from somebody who knows. I feel comfortable with that.
We certainly could use it on that system.
The reality is, we could spend $3 million up there tomorrow if we had it. So unless you're gonna hit that number, we can use it.
I'll take 5,000.
You know, just the capital facility, you know, the master plan calls for 20, you know, almost 3 million, so we're not gonna get anywhere near that. So anything we do is a step in the right direction.
Okay, I'll change that one to 20,000. See how the year comes out.
Could get lucky. Yeah, that's the only change on that one. So far, so good, council?
Yeah.
Public, any comments on the next year's budget? Okay. That being said, let's get out of, I think, Chair will entertain a motion to get out of this public hearing and get back into regular session, and then we'll do our resolutions.
So moved.
Got a first? Second, all in favor? Okay, we're back in regular session. So let me read the two ordinances. Do you have those things, or do I have them in my packet? I think it
Packet.
is. Yeah. Are they both, is there two together, or am I grabbing one?
One is 0605A and the other 0605B. They should be separate with the,
B and C?
you don't have an A and B?
Hold on, I've got a purpose of the town,
A.
okay, we've got the B here. Says signatures. Okay, I'll read the first resolution, which would be number DR 217-06-05A. Short title, resolution approving amendments to the Danieltown General Operations Budget, Water Enterprise Budget, and Storm Haven Water Budget for fiscal year 2016-17. The purpose of this resolution is to approve and adopt a proposed amended budget presented in the public hearing held June 5th, 2017 to accommodate changes to the adopted revenue and/or expenses. Resolution, whereas the legislative body of the town of Daniel, political subdivision of the state of Utah, having reviewed, considered, and adopted budgets prepared by the budget office of the town of Daniel, having held a public hearing for public comment prior to the final budget adoption, and having adopted the budgets, does hereby wish to amend the adopted budgets for fiscal year 2016-17. The public hearing was properly noticed and public comments solicited and considered. Be it resolved, accepted, and approved by the governing legislative body of the town of Daniel, that the town of Daniel, a political subdivision of the state of Utah, hereby adopts the amended budgets for the fiscal year July 2001, 2016 through June 30th, 2017. A copy of the amended budget is attached. So, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
We have a first? And a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution DR 217-06-05A passes. I didn't have the signatures on that, but I do on this one. This is John's, and so I think it might be here. I just don't want to forget not signing it.
Yeah, I didn't have it B or an A.
So, I've got the B here. I'll read that resolution now. DR 217-06-05B. Short title resolution approving Danieltown General Operation Budget Water Enterprise Budget and Storm Haven Water Budget for fiscal year 2017-18. The purpose of this resolution is to approve and adopt the proposed budgets presented in the public hearing on June 5th, 2017. Resolutions, whereas the legislative body of the town of Daniel, a political subdivision of the state of Utah, having reviewed, considered, and adopted budget prepared by the budget office of the town of Daniel, has held a public hearing for public comment prior to the final budget adoption. The tentative budgets were available for public inspection, and the public hearing was properly noticed and public comment solicited and considered. Be it resolved, accepted, and approved by the governing legislative body of the town of Daniel, that the town of Daniel, a political subdivision of the state of Utah, hereby adopts these budgets for the fiscal year July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018. A copy of this budget is attached. We have a motion to accept the resolution.
So moved.
We have a first, we have a second. First and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
did find the other one out.
Oh, right.
A signature on the front page of both is also signed.
Moving on, past the public hearings on to item number 5, discussion of final cooperative agreement on US 40 preservation corridor.
Mayor, can we jump, Ryan, are you here for something special?
Just my business license.
Can we jump to that? Unless you wanna sit here.
Second.
No, it's just one, it's one line, one that's, absolutely. So we're gonna, if everyone's in agreement, that's fine, we'll move from item 5 to item number 6, a business license to get those folks done. Okay, good idea.
Okay, Simpson Fence, here's the application, license.
Ryan, anything changed or anything that, from what you did or planned? Okay. Anybody have any questions for Ryan or Simpson Fence?
I have one. Ryan, there's been some discussion about stuff you're storing. Does anyone complain to you? Or?
I've not had anybody complain to me. If there's anything back there, I mean, maybe some used posts from a job that I tore out, I just don't like throwing them away.
And we don't have any official complaints, right?
No.
Okay.
I mean, old wood posts I burned in my fire pit, nothing, no like stored materials that I'm gonna sell.
I'm on the planning council, and someone did come and say that there's a possibility you're storing a pile of asphalt tailings, I don't know what to call
Well,
them.
I'm just gonna
You're
spread
gonna take
those.
care of that?
I'm gonna spread those out in that area where they're at. Just don't have time. Keep the
That
dust
road
down.
mill.
Road mill, that was the right word.
Keep the dust down. Just haven't had time to spread it.
Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you.
You gotta see what he's doing. It's awesome.
It is awesome.
What's that
Part of
road?
Not according to his wife.
The rotor mill or what?
No,
What is that?
Oh, just
from
driveways,
the-
whole front yard, everything's getting all nice.
He's getting all the sprinklers in and everything else.
trees. It looks great.
Good try.
Is that the only one? Business
That's
license?
it.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan.
He's just gonna have to send it back.
Question on that road mill, what does that cost for a load of that?
I got lucky and just had to hire Mark. They let me have it.
Mark's got a line on that stuff.
You know, I'll talk to Warren.
Okay.
Ryan lined it up.
That's it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Is that the only license then?
Yes. Cooperative agreement with Utah Division of, excuse me, no, back on 5, discussion of the cooperative agreement with, on US 40 preservation corridor. You want me to go, Eric, or do you want to go?
No, go right ahead.
So, we got to, we went through the year, went through lots of meetings, almost got next. And I feel the first time that the county has really actually helped us accomplish one of the goals that Eric and I were striving for, and that is to have a location that when needed, that we'd have proper intersections. And it was kind of the last intersection. They wanted to stop before Little Sweden, and we wanted them to stop at Little Sweden. And so there was some discussion between independents and this, that, and the other. And so we finally were able to push it through. I think it's a good agreement. I know there was one thing that we would have liked to have changed. It didn't get changed, but they pretty much changed everything else to help us out. That's how I kind of feel. Do you have any comment there?
Oh, they've changed a lot. This is not the agreement that was on 189. They changed a lot of it, so.
So the council will be just looking forward to permission to sign that agreement. So there's any questions about that, would you like to talk about it? I got some maps here, John, if you have any questions on maps and future plans.
You may want to tell them about Independence,
With regards to how they,
their participation in this agreement.
well, so in the beginning, we had probably 4, 5, 6 meetings, and Independence didn't show up to any of them. They were invited to all of them. At the last meeting, I think is where we kind of informed it that they showed up and wanted to change the agreement that everyone had worked on for literally a year, all of you, I mean, everybody. And it almost got scrapped because you didn't want to deal with Independence and what some of their flags that they're throwing up. And this is kind of where I felt the county kind of came and says, no, you didn't come to the game the whole year. Let's, we all did. Let's get this finished. So Independence is not in this agreement, and in the future they're going to want to put their accesses in wherever they're going to want to put them in. And they might have a problem. So because they didn't want to participate in this agreement. So. Is that what you want me to say?
Yep.
There we go.
We went over that in planning, we've been over this agreement a lot. And we got pretty much everything we asked for, minus just one small detail that I couldn't get past, but I was outvoted, so. I don't mind being outvoted.
What was that?
It's about changing this agreement, that all parties have to agree to change it. And I was under the impression that we could be held hostage by another municipality or UDOT not agreeing to a change. If you look at that map, those black dots are in stone. That's where the intersection will be. So unless all the parties come together and change that, that's where they'll be. So it's double-edged. It lets other folks know where those intersections will be located. That will be future signalized intersections, or could be.
So why did we put 20 right there instead of where it is? Is that because it doesn't come in at 90?
It doesn't, and the reason that it's there is because that's the distance on UDOT rule
Oh, okay.
that allows an intersection to be put in.
Yeah.
And so, that was added in our last meeting. That was the payoff for these.
The payoff, you like that idea?
Yes, because it allows us to have a general plan, and if we have a future road plan, we're able to access along that intersection, so.
And I have to say, it was kind of nice. They said, well, I guess we can maybe do a separate agreement. And Eric said, well, why can't we do it now? And everyone kind of looks at each other. It's like, okay, and we got it done that time, so.
So what this agreement does is tries to get everybody to come to those intersections to access the highway. And so it pushes towards a frontage road situation and pushes those entrances onto the highway so we don't have intersections every 100 feet.
So even though there's a house there now anyway, 3000 South will not punch through the highway.
They really wanted
They
that.
asked us it multiple times, and Eric's like, no, and I'm like, no, and Bob says, you know how easy that would be? And it's like, no, they did, they tried really hard, and they still, probably every meeting will try hard.
Well, there's a house there now. That would be really hard.
It wouldn't be too hard.
Really?
Yeah, if we let them, they'd buy it, I'm sure.
One of those hot machines would buy the house out and put the road through. Oh, they would do, they really, really want it. Oh, yeah, Bob won't ask.
Yeah, they'd really like that. This is new.
Well, that's great. I'm glad it isn't there.
Need another planet.
Okay.
So that one was the only thing that was the only hang-up. They really did work with us through all the other. And the Charleston agreement, that Mayor Bob down there is already trying to change his agreement.
So before we leave this, when will these changes take place?
That's warranted by UDOT.
Oh, okay.
They will be the
So,
ones
not
pushing
for a
that
while.
button.
Is that
Like 20 years.
Yeah.
189, by your place, is that the new intersection?
That's the new intersection.
So that's in process of construction, or is that something you're digging?
Nope, that's in construction. So
They
that
have
was
money
part
both
of,
for
that was
right?
part of our annexation agreement, that they had to follow this plan that we had done. We wasn't a participant in it, which Mayor Bob thought that was ironic that we wouldn't sign, but I was holding his feet to the fire on it. So I said, well, that's part of the deal, we won't protest, but you have to follow that agreement, because it shifts the burden. We've already, as far as the town of Daniel is already, county bought property, we've shifted that for those big trucks to get out. And they wanted to push it clear back and have all the burden back on us, and we're like, we've already done it.
Even worse than what it was.
So when will that intersection be finished?
The intersection will, as soon as they start developing, UDOT put $18,000 towards it, so they had some budgeted for a right turn lane to get off the highway, and they put that money towards that new
Deceleration.
intersection.
Okay, but that's not gonna have a semaphore in there?
It will not have a semaphore until it's warranted,
Okay.
but, and that's why we have to get these intersections lined up, or they'll never qualify.
What do you call it?
Semaphore.
No, what? Semi?
Semaphore.
No, I didn't hear what you asked me.
Well, I didn't hear the word you said to Eric, and I just.
Semaphore.
What's a semaphore? What's a semaphore?
That's what we call a stoplight.
There you go, you said stoplight. Okay, I never heard that term, and when you said stoplight, it's like maybe he heard you wrong, so I just trying to get clarified.
So I think they've done
I heard
really
that
good.
once.
Now we learned something.
It sounded like a nice big word.
It did sound like a big one.
They use it in Spanish, that's how I learned it. They don't use stoplight,
They use semaphore?
semaphore.
So you'll see in this that all above ground items will be back 30 feet from the right of way. So also in this agreement, if somebody is putting in a right-hand turn lane, deceleration lane, they have to slide their fence back, whatever that lane is. If UDOT's required that, they have to slide back and give them still the same amount of right of way. With this new document also, in the back, there's a cross-section, and you'll notice that the sidewalks are outside of the UDOT right-of-way. So as commercial parcels develop, and as these other private parcels develop up this corridor, we'll have to keep those facilities back because the corridor is not wide enough for the sidewalk. So when that goes in, it will be on the private property side of that corridor.
Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Isn't it like taking property? I didn't understand what you said then. We're making people put a sidewalk on their private property.
As a condition of development,
So some develops commercials, and they're on the highway.
even private.
But you said residential.
Yeah, even private. If they develop, they need to be aware of that cross-section.
On 40 though.
On their property.
Yeah. So
There will
sidewalk.
be sidewalk on 40.
Yes.
What's that?
There will be sidewalk on 40.
There will not be, just eventually, it's the eventual
Okay.
thing.
It says, build your house back far enough, you leave
Yeah.
it for a yard.
Yeah, so we leave that frontage open, no above ground, anything that can stick up and get in the way, because it becomes very expensive to buy that property, so. Heber had to change their code, we already have that in our code, 30-foot back, setback, along the highway corridor, so we don't have to change our code for that. But we might have to look at changing for the sidewalk, cross-section, putting that in there.
Is that center of the road setback, 40 feet from the center of the road? Or from the
30
front
feet
line?
from the edge of UDOT right of way.
Oh, from the right.
Okay. Any other comments or questions about it?
5 acres.
That's on 40.
Chair entertain a motion on that.
Well, me and the mayor have been at several meetings. I've probably invited him a few times.
I make a motion that we accept this reservation corridor agreement, cooperative agreement with US 40 and SI 189.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the cooperative agreement for US 40 and 189. We have a second?
I think others know a lot better than I do, so I just assume in a second.
I'll second it.
We have a first and a second, any last discussion? If none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
All right.
Okay, so motion passes, cooperative agreement. Do we have we do have a resolution for that, Ben?
Yes,
Okay. Is it in this particular packet, or is it a separate
if
resolution?
you can't find it, here's.
No, I can probably find that. There we go. This would be DR 217-06-05C. The purpose of this resolution is for Town of Daniel to enter into the corridor preservation agreement along US 40 from SR 189 to Gravel Pit Road, promulgated by the Heber City and Wausau County. Whereas the Daniel Town Council, a legislative body of the Town of Daniel, a political subdivision of the state of Utah, having reviewed and considered the provisions of the cooperative agreement of the corridor preservation, wishes to enter into the proposed agreement. Be it resolved that the Daniel Town Council authorizes the mayor to enter into the attached agreement by affixing his signature hereto. Chair, I'll entertain a motion for a resolution.
So moved.
We have a first, we have a second. Second. We have a second. Any last discussion? None, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
All right.
Motion passes.
So how does that work, Chip? Do you sign a document and get it back to them, or?
There is a
have
place
you
on that for
someone?
everyone, like the county, Heber City,
So you'll
Daniel.
be meeting with them later and signing?
Yeah, I'm sure I get that document.
Okay.
I'm not sure if the clerk has to see that either, but that document will come.
I think Bob was just looking at if he will actually run one around to get signed. Bob-
Physically?
Yeah,
Okay, I
Bob
think you just say
said
that now,
he
yeah.
will run around physically and do that. He wanted to make sure it was getting past councils.
Before it gets
So that's why we had to come back and sell it, because that's where we're at.
Okay. Moving on to planning department report violations and enforcement.
Skip 7.
Skip 7.
Yes, I did, I checked it off, it's got a bump 5. Cooperative, so we're gonna go back to 7, thank you, Lynn. Cooperative agreement with the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands, possible resolution. So, nothing's changed since the last meeting except for one more attempted phone call that didn't get called back, and so my feeling is the problem. Because the fire season's coming, we can't get justification from the county saying that they are the body of well, we have a local agreement with them to take care of fire, but if we sign the agreement, we are the signatures on participating, and then there's some guidelines in there that we're supposed to do, but we're told that we don't really have to do them because we're signed up with the county. The county won't give us that letter saying that we are this governing body for fire districts. So I'd love to hear maybe some councils what we ought to do, because we're really kind of in a situation. If we have a fire and it gets out of control and we don't sign it, we're gonna have a problem. On the other hand, it's not clear that we wouldn't have a problem even if we did sign it, because we're not gonna meet all the requirements that the signature's saying that we're gonna meet, because it puts too much burden on the small towns, but the county won't clear us on that. But I'd like to kind of
So
see.
we'd have to have somebody at the county meeting.
Well, they would, so what we've had is they would, I mean, they can come back and kind of tell us the agreement, but the agreement is clear, and there are multiple municipalities that are not gonna sign it because of the same reason that Eric brought up. And I was kind of, last month, figuring we ought to sign it, but not now, because I was expecting that letter. Now without that letter, I don't know if we should sign it. But if we don't sign it, it could be a problem.
So if a fire would happen, who would come to fight it?
Well, the county will still come fight it, but if it leaves the county, so let's say it starts in Daniel, and it leaves, and then the county's fighting it, but it leaves, and they have to call the state in. That's what this agreement is that the town won't have to pay for the state's fee, because the county, the county's called and the county was doing it. But since we sign on it, it says that we will do it. That's the problem. So if the county had their own document that we signed on to the county, that would be great, but they don't, it's a state document.
Can we make an adjustment to the document and sign that and send that into the county?
I don't think so. So the one option is, I did not ask David, the attorney, to literally go through the document and see, because too many people already have problems with it, so he's gonna have problems. I think we'd be spending a lot of money having him look at that until we can get a little, maybe a little further from the county that they are accepting the responsibility for the training and for some of the things that are a problem for us.
So if we just ignore it and do nothing, what happens?
And we have a fire, then we're gonna get pulled, and the state gets involved, then we're gonna get pulled into that, and in my opinion, we're gonna start saying, we tried, and the county wouldn't, and here's the other people, and they, yep.
And the lawyers will get together.
Well, the legislature's the one that given the authority to do this.
Yes, the state did.
So we could be liable for billing, for fighting the fire if it starts in a town.
If we don't sign this.
Well, that's what they told us.
Right.
But you
Did you
haven't
have-
seen the letter.
Oh, I've seen the agreement.
Oh.
These are my questions.
Oh.
Did you have a chance to review that, John? At all?
Does our insurance liability cover us?
Well, I don't think in that application, in our town boundaries and those, but when you start getting out of into the state grounds, then that's what the county, my understanding is that's why we have signed on with the county for those purposes, and now the state's kind of added another layer if it gets outside the boundaries.
What are they gonna do, bankrupt all these little towns?
That's what we've been told, if they did, it could bankrupt us. Or any, yeah, that's literally, that they said that word, those words.
Yeah, so this was just, and it's not a lot of money right now. I mean, they've told us, what did they tell us?
$2,100 through time, and are we talking about that money?
Yeah,
Yeah. $2,100, $2,200.
22, 21, 22. I have that other.
And even, so all the work that was done on the canals, we probably have that list of names, and, we probably already paid for the work that was already done on the canal before the rush, before the water came. So, dollar-wise is the issue, it's the liability that is not clear on
I
it.
don't think that's approved.
What's that?
I don't think that's approved.
I
The
agree.
work we did on the canal, there's a committee that approves what you can do for in-kind.
I don't think it's been submitted though.
Yeah, but you don't know.
Right, yeah. You may send that whole thing in, oh no, that doesn't
That's
count.
not qualified.
So I really, this is on the agenda, just so, I'd like a little more, I mean, this is what we're dealing with, and this is where we stand, and does anybody feel we should do something different?
So, well, let's just hit a couple of these, can we?
Yeah,
We got time?
Absolutely.
So, in this report, there's a report submitted by the participating entity, which would be us, yearly. We have to submit that. Now, they will require every municipality and special service district to be a part of this. So now we're already in double coverage. We have special service district within our town boundaries. So now we have a double coverage issue that I don't know about. The CWPP wildfire preparedness plan has to be updated every 2 years. Well, we don't even have that. We have a county wildfire plan. The rule 652, 122, 1400 is where they talk about the fire training certification. And so that's a certification that firefighters hold. And if you don't respond with that person, you're not qualified to be a first responder. And therefore you haven't responded.
Government mojo, it sounds like.
So the review, the entry review approved has to be signed prior to the fiscal year. So we're talking right now. So it has to be signed prior. 2G, the county has adopted a wildland ordinance with, and so that's a requirement, R 652, 122, 1300, 2017. And then you have to have an agreement with the fire warden, the state fire warden. So, again, it talks about us with this FFSL area manager. We have to put these reports into him and meet with him annually. We don't know who that is.
Who's gonna do the reports?
Tough to meet with someone you don't even know who you're meeting with.
They won't even return the call.
So, and then in this document, in 3(1)C, it says in there, your obligation cannot be met with direct payments to the state. So they come and told us we could just pay the money.
Worst case, you can pay it, but you don't have to pay it.
Right. And it's saying it cannot be met with direct payment to the state in
That's a
3(1)7.
direct conflict over here.
That is.
So what do? You can't pay them.
Then you have to be in kind. You'd have to do it
You
in
have to
kind.
do it in kind.
You'd have to do something in kind, according to that statement, the way I read that. That's why I was curious to know if you went through that and read it.
Not even that you can. You have to.
So, if it's really weird, because there's a 10-year average, how they regulate, how they say how much we owe. What's our, what do they call that? I guess our, yeah, our rate, what they're gonna charge us. And so, it's a 10-year average on 8 points. So they throw away the top year and the bottom year. So there's 8 points in a 10-year contract. And so that just gets a little confusing to me. But so then there's a whole rule, 652, 122, 300, 652, 122, 400, and 652, 122, 500, that all pass the Senate, and that's how they calculate the payment. So there's 3 different rules that they've adopted that says how they're going to calculate the payment. When they came and sold this to us, it was in this little box. That's how they calculated it.
The amount,
Yep.
real straightforward, $2,200, whatever it was.
And so now, so we have 3 different rules that we don't even know what they are. And if you don't agree with that, you can appeal informally to the state forester. So it gets even better. 4A3, the participating entity agrees to financial responsibility for initial attack. So if I read that correctly, the participating entity, which would be Daniel, agrees to the financial responsibility for initial attack. So the county could bill us for the initial attack.
And that's one of the biggest ones that and a couple of the other ones are rated by, no one's gonna, or not, I know, but I know of 3 or 4 municipalities that have not signed it thus far, well, at least a few weeks ago.
Because of that alone.
Well, no, that just being one of the main ones.
Maybe.
Is the government aware of this?
I signed it.
So the training on the NWCG, whatever that training table is, S-130 and the S-190 is your certification level to be a first responder. And the training of the IA, which is the Rule 130, is an annual training that you have to do every year to qualify. So, to be eligible for reimbursement, you have to have the FFSL, Memorandum of Understanding with the state, before you can even be eligible for reimbursement. And here's the real kicker. Down in 6A, they hit in little letters. The entity agrees to initiate all civil action to collect. We have to sue whoever started that. We have to initiate that as the participating entity. So the state just comes on board with us. We have to fund that. So, I don't know, it's not clear to me if we're an entity where we are in the county of a fire district.
And that's what,
So, you know, it's just like, that doesn't answer it to me.
and without clarification from the county fire warden, then I don't feel comfortable for all the obvious reasons.
Well, and it sounds to me, I mean, I look at this and it's like county, it's state. State, they're talking about the state, federal, you know, it's like,
I guess everyone has, the county could have a stick by getting us, and then the state certainly will have a stick with us as well.
Well,
I'd go
and-
ahead and continue that to next month.
And go further.
well, and then by next month, I don't know if we can sign it, because it has to be done before the,
That's a year. Exactly. Continue
Expired.
it until next month. Boom. Problem gone.
no problem, though. We might get a bill. Oh, there was one more thing I needed to point out.
So if we get a bill from the state, we call the building department, where do we get all these certifications? And I'm gonna get in touch with these people because they're not returning the calls. And where are the forms, and what's this, and what's that?
Exactly. I just,
See, so they've written right in here, for cities and towns, the first year of participation commitment will be for year 2018, starting July 1st, 2017.
So we need our attorney, our town attorney, to send them a letter.
So this is, I was gonna go talk to Mike Davis, because on 3A, for counties, the first year of participation commitment will be for year 2017, starting January 1st, 2017.
So they're in it.
They should be in it, they should already have this,
and I don't know that they are.
and I don't know if they are either.
Huh?
What do the rest of you do when you can't sleep? There's just so much to go on that I mean, it's so big. This isn't, that document is not the two documents they brought us.
Yeah. I like Kim's idea, I mean, I don't feel comfortable tonight in the table, I know it's too late, but after July 1st, what does council think?
They haven't given us means to act on anything.
I think it's a kind of a catch-22. Thanks, Sheriff.
Sorry, Lynn.
Four.
Trying to write down all the rules. Eric disagrees, how's that?
Not enough information.
Want to continue that item and move on?
Yes, I make a motion to
David,
continue. Item on the agreement with the fire.
But something might come up in a few weeks, and maybe I can make a quick phone call to everybody, I don't know, but again, July 1st is coming quick.
It is kind of really quick, and I don't know, sometimes I read things and maybe not what it really says, I don't know.
Well, I think you have too many other entities that are agreeing with you. At least, maybe not every one of yours, but at least three, at least 2 or 3, they are. So,
I see us racking up a big legal bill, starting to sue these guys to get his money back.
We
Yeah.
don't wanna do that.
no, you don't want to do that, and then we don't, I mean, to have him go through the documents, not really gonna help, he's gonna come up with the same list you did and say, well, here's what you're gonna be facing, you're gonna have to decide this, and this, if you want to, so.
I hope you'd find something else.
Do you have documentation that you've tried to get a hold of them?
I've tried to call Ernie 3 times, and
So
I've
you
talked,
have it written or some document?
no,
It's your word against.
well, I've talked to
your
Troy on the phone, he told me to call it, and I did, yeah, it's just all
Send
through.
in a letter, send in an official letter.
I mean, if it ever would come, they'd say, hey, I did due diligence, I tried to get a hold of you guys.
And there's people that know that I have, and especially the.
Stand up for you, yeah, don't sit in your.
Well, the guy that told me to call the chief would be able to say that, and then he might say, I won't say a word, sorry, I won't support you.
Maybe something in writing and send CC and go on through.
That's what I'm trying to do, is get it something to write.
Something.
Yeah, there's just no response. Like I said, I was gonna go see Mike and see if they had actually signed it. And he may know some of this, I don't know that he would, but he may know some of the training requirements.
Well, it's just,
See in depth.
it is in depth, and when it talks about the signing entity, it's very clear that we need to have those steps from the state's point of view, we need to have all that training and all those personnel prepared.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and what happens if it starts up in the special service district? Are they on the hook? We on the hook?
I think it's a good idea to go talk to Mike. See where they're at.
Is he in your office with about where you work?
What's that?
Isn't he up near you where you work? Do I do that?
I can talk to him. I mean, that's what I was planning on doing. I just can catch up with you last week, so.
If it needs to be, then make phone calls and we'll pass them around if something can be done before that July.
He runs when it seems to be coming because I show up the list like that.
We all run when you show up, Eric.
We're out to lunch.
Okay, so what do we want to do with that?
So you had a motion to continue?
Continue? You got a second?
Yeah.
You have a second? Any discussion? Not? All in favor to continue? Aye?
Aye.
Oh, yeah. Well, that will be continued. Now I'm on to item number 8, I believe.
Okay, Awesome. Here's the planning report.
Wow, long. Busy.
Busy, so it's. You gonna share? You need one?
Hey, Eric, what are those blue little marks on Southfield Road in 3000?
That's our water line.
Going down toward,
Yes, yeah. That's our water line.
who's gonna be cutting that? What's going on there?
They're not cutting Heber Power's replacing all the poles. And so that one there's for the poles. Nobody cutting our road. We do have some spots where they are cutting elsewhere, but that's Eric, out messing around. Any questions on that?
Yeah, what's the Daniel Academy remodels? Is it a big thing?
The Daniel Academy remodel, they're looking at moving a bathroom from downstairs to upstairs.
A bathroom and 2 bedrooms.
Is that a permitted thing?
It is a permitted thing. The planning commission has asked that that comes before the planning commission. This is just a sample report. I thought you might want to see one. For one of the residents that we just did, that's just a sample report.
So you're saying the planning committee asked, the commission asked that it come before this council?
No, before the planning commission, before we approve that
Oh, okay.
for the remodel, because of the extenuating circumstances on a reasonable accommodation permit that they have.
Oh.
So, I remember last month, or maybe between some conversations, that they talked about that septic tank is just fine.
The health department says it's fine.
That's okay, that's what I'm referring to.
Okay.
I mean, I got smart people here, I thought it was tied to bedrooms, and I thought it was, so how can it be fine, and they just keep adding more? I mean, is that question been asked from Tracy or anything? Is there any limitations, and why are the limitations on everybody except for them?
I haven't followed up with a question. I plan to. I haven't done that. We've heard back from county health and county fire, still waiting on the rest of the reviews, and so I was kind of waiting to get all the comments together and then attack it. So I have not followed up.
I would like that, at least answers before we approve it, because there's gotta be some rationale, because either this rationale is right, or his rationale, or what he can do anything he wants, and I'd like to know what 3 of those methods are proper. Okay.
So-
I didn't mean to take.
So on like this Jamie Aguirre basement remodel,
Huh?
what do you actually have to submit on a remodel? Or an,
If you-
an extension of a wall or
Yeah,
something?
if you're moving structural, you have to, but the big thing there is electrical and plumbing. If you're moving that, then you have to have it inspected.
Okay, so you have to, but what does a person actually submit to you?
They
The
submit
building permit?
the building permit with their plans.
Even though a lot of those things in the building permit don't make sense for a
Right.
condition?
So you can leave it blank or put NA. So a lot of the things are blank. The form's there for the new house, and some things don't apply, so you leave it blank. But you'll need that, and then a plan, so plumbing and electrical plan, a floor plan. If you're moving structural things, then they need to be stamped by an engineer that, with calculations to back up that what you're gonna build is structurally sound.
So would that be nice to be able to submit those online, Eric?
I don't think that it would be able, because, well, if you look at that Clyde one I just handed you, that's at their submittal stage. That's just me, Ryan's still doing his review on the Clyde residence.
That's a bigger one though, on a,
So I've accepted email, if you wanna email the plans to me, I can print them off.
but
So
then how does someone pay you?
So right now, they have to come in with a check. So, but I've accepted the plans by email and printed them off. If it's something small enough that I can review it on 11/17. If
Okay,
it's-
and who gets the checks, Eric or you, or it doesn't matter?
We take the checks at our office because we're open business hours, so you can drop it off
So
anytime during
someone
business
would-
hours.
The best way would be to take the plans and the check to Ryan at
Right.
PDA.
Yeah, and that's where we direct everybody during
Oh,
regular business
okay.
hours is, because there's this girl there, she sits there all